Hey, what is going on, guys? As you guys can see from the title of this video, I will be going over my biggest loss so far of the month, and I think it's my second biggest loss so far this year, and it is relatively big compared to how much profit I make daily. So I just wanted to kind of go over that trade and also go over how I was able to recover and my plans for the future. I figured I can make this video. It can help me out so I avoid making this kind of mistake, and it can also help you guys out if this is something that you guys do as well. So without further ado, let's jump into the charts. Alrighty, guys, so the first trade that I took was on Wednesday, and I was trading Nvidia. So we can see from this chart right here that Nvidia, let me just go to replay right here. So this is what I was watching on Wednesday for Nvidia. So I seen Nvidia was in this channel right here. So this thing was kind of on a downtrend. So I was already thinking bearish. So I see Nvidia is on a downtrend. The trend is a bearish one. So I was looking for a short position, and I was looking to short at this supply zone right here. So now when we go to the 5-minute table, we can see Nvidia came up to this level for me right about here. So Nvidia came right to this 871 level, and this is where I entered my short position right here. And my plan was to short this thing back down to this support zone and possibly this support zone. And my stop loss, if this trade went against me, was if we break out of this area. And as you can guess, this is where I went wrong. So Nvidia kind of played around in this zone for a little bit, and I was in profit for a little bit, and I didn't sell. I was still holding, and eventually, as you can guess, Nvidia broke out of this zone. So during this sideways trading, I was just holding, and this trade eventually ended up going to the next day, and I held to the next day because during this consolidation period, my contracts lost a lot of value. So the contracts I bought were $1,400. I bought one contract, and my biggest mistake was I bought contracts that expire in 2 days. So I bought it on Wednesday, they expired on Friday. So the fact that it didn't hit my profit right away caused these contracts to lose a lot of their intrinsic value. So I told myself I'll hold till the next day, and hopefully this thing will break lower. As you can see, the opposite happened, and we broke out of this the next day. At this point, I am down about 50% on these contracts, and I just continued to hold where I should have absolutely sold, as we are now testing this next resistance level. This thing briefly came back to where I bought at, but since I was trading options and they expire in a couple days, I was not break even. I was actually down about 40% once we came and retested the zone that I entered. And as you can guess, this thing just continued to rally higher, testing all of our resistance levels. So my biggest mistakes and takeaways from this trade: number one, I like how I entered. It was a good entry on this trade. We were testing this trend line that was going down, and we were touching this resistance level, this supply zone. So I think my entry was a great entry. My number one mistake was I bought contracts that were out of the money, and I bought contracts that expire in 2 days, two things that I usually never do. And I did it just because I didn't have that much buying power left that week. And it was just a hasty decision and a very dumb one. My second mistake was when this thing came back and tested this area, I should have just sold. It's very obvious that it was going to find support at this level, and I should have gotten out with 50% of my money, but I ended up holding, and guess what? By the time this thing was up here, these contracts were worthless. They literally went to $0 and I lost that entire $1,400. So now on to the next day on Thursday. So as you can see, I made up all of that money and a little bit more. And how I was able to do this was I took a little bit more calculated trades. I was a little bit smarter on this. On Thursday, I wanted to short Nvidia again. I was watching this 884 zone. I did not take the trade up here. I was waiting for the break of this 884 zone. And once this 884 zone broke, I targeted this 875 and I was out. So this was a small, it wasn't a huge trade. It was just from 883, 884-ish down to 875 and I immediately got out. That was my first trade and that netted me about $1,000. And my second trade on this same day, on Thursday, was not Meta, but Microsoft. And this was a really good trade, and I actually posted this trade on the Discord for you guys. I don't know if anyone saw the trade. So this was a swing trade that I took. I went into this position on Thursday and I held until Friday. So we can see from Microsoft, this is a chart I have from Microsoft, and we can see this 428 zone has been a very strong key zone. We can see up here, we broke above it back in March, and we kind of traded sideways and then this thing broke below. Buyers were not there. So according to what I could see, Microsoft, unless we break above 431, this thing is still a little weak to the upside above this. There's not enough buyers. So I see this as a supply zone, and I seen this 420 zone as a demand zone. So on Thursday, I seen this thing come up to this 427, 428 zone, and I went into puts, and I was willing to hold this. Even if we ran all the way up here, I would have still stayed in my puts. I would have only sold if we broke above it right here. So I bought in here, and as soon as the morning candle opened up, I was in profit, but I did not sell. I held this thing all the way until $420, and that is when I got out. And this trade netted me about $1,000 to complete my comeback for that trade. I guess my trading week after that big loss. So a few takeaways from this is when you know that, okay, I'm going into a day trade and I might not hit my targets today, I think the smartest thing to do is buy stocks that are in the money or at the money and buy some time. Buy expirations that are a week out or 2 weeks out just to see how they play out. Quickly, I can go over. I also had a trade today. I made about $300 today. If you watched my video from yesterday, you could have taken this trade as well because I told you my exact plan and it actually worked out exactly how I predicted it would. I can retrace back down to this 173, 174 zone. This is where I am interested in buying calls. I told you guys to watch this 173, 174 zone for Apple, and this can be a strong support area. So Apple opened up bullish. It opened up at about 175, but there was this resistance level. So I did not touch this until we came to this zone. Once we touched 174, I went into some calls and I held till right here and I got out. This made me about $200, and then I made about another $100 on calls on Qs. And now when I look at it, it looks like maybe I should have taken puts, but I took some calls on Qs about right here at 438 and I was out at about 439. This thing just seemed too weak, and I just got out for $100. I didn't see us pushing any higher, and as we can see, this thing ended up dropping over 1.5%. So that is all for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know if you like videos like this where I go over my trades, and I'll try to go over in pre-market what I am looking at like I did yesterday, so maybe you could have caught this trade as well. Until next time, peace.